talking with some guys about defense, and I heard someone ask something. Since it's a defense today,
draw up,
I might as well draw up a 4-4 defense and let you know what I make sure that you subscribe. I probably hundreds and hundreds of backwards as I normally do. I might like our content and what we're doing. So stay tuned to stay with. Welcome to X&O The Joes. I'm Gene Clemens. It's great to be back. It's a defensive day, and I was in a chat room talking with some guys about defense, and I heard someone ask something about, hey, can you draw up, can somebody draw up for me 4-4 defense? And people were saying there was a bunch of different things going on, and I was like, you know what? Since it's a defense today, I might as well draw up a 4-4 defense and let you know what I think about the 4-4 defense, my philosophies and the things that I think about whenever I'm looking at running a 4-4 defense, the type of offenses that I think the 4-4 defense works best against, and the type of offenses that I think are built to beat a 4-4 defense. So don't go anywhere. Make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe. I probably did it backwards as I normally do. I might normally go like and subscribe, but you know what to do. We need your support. We love that you are all here. We know you're watching. Our video from yesterday is already reaching hundreds and hundreds of people. So we know that you like our content and what we're doing, and we want you to continue to stay with us. This is going to be something that we're doing all the time. It's not going anywhere. So stay tuned. 4-4 defense is coming up right now. So in an effort to not make this video, 3 hours long, I'm going to try to compartmentalize things so we can understand in a basic 40 front defense. So whether it's a 4-4 or a 4-3, in any type of 40 front, even a 42, any type of 40 front, you usually operate from 3 different types of fronts. You either go from an over front, under front, or for me, heads. So I'm gonna show you those 3 right now. So if a 40 front, we've got 21 personnel, this would be right. If you were looking at it from the offense, this would be a left formation if you're looking at it defensively. So if it's flipped the other way left and we go over front, that means we're gonna bring the 3 technique to the strength. So the over front and under front are normally dictated by the 3 tech. Where are we gonna put the 3 tech? That is the guy on the outside shoulder of the strong side guard if it's over. So the 3 technique is here. Our nose is in the shade backside. We have our backside 5 technique in, and then your front side end might be in a 7, or he might be in a 9, or he might be in a 5, and if so, then your linebacker is probably going to be down. So that's your over front. Now, if it's an under front, that means we're going to put the 3 technique weak. So now we're going to put the 3 technique to the weak side. Here's your nose to the strong side. Now you might be saying to yourself, wow, why would they do that? Well, look at this. They're definitely not now going to put this into the 5 technique because you don't want to leave 2 gaps uncovered, which most likely would bring down a linebacker here. So that would be your under front. So over is to the strength, under is away from the strength. Now, you could also have a 40 front where it's heads. That means everybody is head up, or 2 2s and 2 4s. Now, you've heard me talk about this before if you've seen any of my videos in the past. So heads means that they're head up on the lineman. Now, you do this when you want to cover these guys up because you don't want them to be able to climb to the 2nd level. And then obviously in that case, you're going to have the subsequent linebackers go around. So I'm going to go back to an over front. and I'm going to draw up your interior for the over front. So we know we got our 40, we're gonna go over. So our 3 technique is gonna go to the strength, our nose, our weak side end, our strong side end, we'll put them in the 7 right now. Now, your linebackers, think about your linebackers this way. Every gap has to be accounted for, right? So we always want to start with the A gap. That's where our Mike backer is going to be at. So really doesn't matter what you label these backers, but you know you're going to have a Mike backer, and then you know you're going to have a stud backer. So my Mike is here. My stud is going to be either my outside linebacker, which means I'm going to have a whip and a buck. So if I have a Mike that I want right in the middle, and I'm here, this end is here, I'm gonna have this backer here, and then probably with this end head up on the tight end, I'm gonna have a backer right outside of him, and then another backer in this B gap. So now you can see that all gaps are accounted for. He has the C gap, he has the B gap, A gap, A gap, B gap. He technically has C gap, but he could also have C gap, or he could have D gap, and that guy's a free hitter, or that guy has D gap. So now we're here, 4-4 there. If we reduce them down into a 5 technique on this side, we would most likely bring this linebacker here. That would be our over front. So now we have our linebacker still at depth. We've got every gap accounted for, and we even have a free hitter. In this case, this guy is our free hitter because he doesn't have any gap responsibility inside. That is our over front. Now, quickly, I'm gonna leave the backers there so you can see what changes when we go from the over front to the under front. So there's my tackle. Here's my nose. This stays the same. Okay, so now where does the responsibilities lie? Now my Mike backer is gonna be responsible for this weak side A gap. I'm probably gonna just line him up in his gap. This backer responsible for strong side B gap. Probably just line him up in that gap. This guy now becomes my free hitter. He's on the outside in the 5 technique. He can be almost stacked on top of that 5 technique if he wants to, because he's a free hitter. And so now I have my under. Here's 5 to that side. Here's 4 to that side. Excuse me. Here's 4 to that side. Here's 4 to that side. We're balanced. Everybody's in play. We've got our free hitter. Everyone knows where they're going in their gaps. Now, if I went heads, meaning I'm gonna put all of these guys head up and leave my center uncovered. Now, what would that do to my linebackers? Well, these guys are heads up, which means that I need to have 2 backs that are stacked over my tackles because they have to make the tackle right. And essentially what happens is, if this tackle goes this way, then that backer knows that they have B gap. If this tackle attacks the B gap, that backer knows they have A gap. The same thing over here. If he goes here, he's taking here. He goes here, he's taking here. Ends are here. Outside linebackers are going to play in a 50, meaning they're going to be outside. On the weak side, he'll play in a 90 over here, or he'll come down into a 9 technique. So now he's there, squeezing this tight end. This guy knows that he's got responsibility here because those two guys have this and this. So he knows he has this gap. Now this guy knows he has this gap because they have here and here, but he has extra help out here with no tight end. This guy has this tight end, he knows he's gonna have to squeeze and or get hands on that tight end. So that's an heads, again heads, which is what we're in right now. The under front, which is away from the strength, and the over front, which is to the strength. And that's essentially your basic alignments when you're talking about a 44 defense. Now stay tuned, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about where I think the 44 defense fits in the scheme of football. Now for me, the 44 defense is a run prevention defense. If you are running the 44, that probably means that you face a lot of teams who run the ball. 44 defenses are tailor-made for stopping the run because it naturally sets up 8 run defenders in the box. So a 44 defense, the type of offensive personnel that you would look to for a 44 defense to have the most success against would be 20, 21, 22 personnel. That's 2 backs, no tight ends, 2 backs, 1 tight end, 2 backs, 2 tight ends. You would have them there for any 3-back personnel, so 30, 31, 32. You would have it for any type of multiple tight end set or multiple tight end personnel. So 12 personnel, 13 personnel. You could see running a 44 defense because most likely, they are trying to keep more people in the box. And so the 44 defense, when you get to keep all 8 of those defenders, those 4 down linemen, those 4 linebackers closer to the box, you're gonna have more success that way. And so those are the personnel groups that I think are perfect to run the 44 defense. Now, a couple personnel groups that I think are bad news. I think they are bad news for the 44 defense. Personnel groupings that I just don't believe give you the best chance for success. 10 personnel, 11 personnel, empty personnel. I don't believe the 4 and 5 wide receiver sets, the spread out sets, are there in order to have success when you're running a 4-4 defense. Here's why. If you're running a 4-4 defense, that means your outside linebackers are guys who are really more built to stop the run. And if you got outside linebackers built to stop the run, why are you sending them out to cover receivers? The more you spread a 4-4 defense out, the more that 4-4 defense looks eerily similar to a 4-2-5 defense. The difference is it's not run like a 4-2-5. It's not built off of blitzing and disguising. It's built off of, we're gonna line up, we're gonna play assignment football, and we're gonna make you beat us. We're gonna make you find something that's not there because we've got every gap accounted for. A 4-2-5 defense is saying, we're gonna send pressure from so many different places, we're gonna confuse and befuddle your offensive line and maybe even your quarterback so that they don't know what to do on any given play. But if you're sitting back and you're just waiting for them to come at you in a 4-4 defense, but you're spread out versus a spread, now your outside linebackers are out there, you have a 6-man box. A 6-man box, we call that barbecue chicken. That is prime real estate to run the ball. So now you've gotten away from what you came into a 4-4 defense to do, which is to stop the run. So you want to make sure that if you're running a 4-4 defense and you're playing teams that are employing 4 and 5 wide receivers, you need to have a curveball. You better have a change-up personnel-wise where you get some guys in that are more adept at covering, or you have a philosophy that starts to add more blitzing in so that you can take advantage of when they try to go trips on you, you're sending heat off the backside or even maybe heat off the front side. But I just don't feel that these personnel groupings are the personnel groupings that the 4-4 defense has the greatest success against. So I would stay away from this defense if this is the type of stuff that I have to see when I'm going up against competition. Like I said, this video could be 2-3 hours long while we talk about different things that you can do with a 44 defense versus run type of teams, but I figured I would just draw up a few formations, things that I've seen that a 44 defense works really well against. So the first one over here is a double wing. Double wing, really in vogue for your 3-phase guys, people who like to run triple option, people who like to run a lot of option type of ball, inside zone, dive, outside veer, inside veer, belly, all that kind of stuff you can see here. Well, the 44 matches up pretty well with it because it doesn't really matter which way you go. Let's say we're gonna go heads versus this. And so we line up our offense this way. Our defense, excuse me. We line up our defense this way. Obviously, it's a 4-4, so we're gonna have a cover 3 shell over it. That gives you an opportunity to lock up on a wing back. Gives you a chance to play good ball here. You know these guys are gonna be responsible for C gap, boom, boom, unless you run some type of stunt with them. These guys are gonna pick which way they're going. These guys are gonna be responsible for making them right. And then you know you've got your D gap guys out here with your deep thirds if you're in a cover 3. Over here, we've got a diamond. Now you've heard about diamond everywhere. I actually love a 4-4 defense versus the diamond. Very similar to here. If you play it, you could play it heads, but you could also go with an over, and in this case, your over might be putting your strength to the field. So now your nose in 3, your tackle's in a 3, your nose is in that backside shade. Here's your end. You're over here. You've got a backer here. You got a backer here. Here's a backer right there. You've got another backer stacked right there. There's your corners and your free safety. Everybody is accounted for. Everybody has a gap in the run game. The great thing about the 4-4 defense is you always want to be sound. The 4-4 defense makes sure that you are gap sound, and that's a beautiful thing about it. Down here, we've got double tights, 2 tights, even base formation. Say we go over to this because there's no real reason to go under versus an even formation. Excuse me, I just put an E there. That's going to be a nose. So now we're going to have our ends and 5s. We're going to bring our backers down. And then we've got our 2 backers in the gaps. Here's our corners. And then obviously your free safety over the top. Once again, everybody is gap sound. Gap integrity is a must. You must be gap and assignment sound because that's how you have success in the 4-4 defense. Over here, you got a tight end wing. You got twins to this side. So it's still kind of a 2x2, but we know that this is the strength. We're gonna put our guys here. Here's my 3 technique, my nose, backside in. I'm gonna bring this backer down here. My cornerbacks over the top. Here's a backer here, backer here. Now we've got this guy over here, we have to account for him. We're gonna probably play him 50% between the tackle and number 2. Here's my corner, free safety out there. So again, everything gap sound. You wanna make sure that you have your gap integrity out there and that everybody is accounted for. So, just some great ways that you can line up that 44 defense to make sure you're in position. The biggest thing you want to remember is you always want to be gap sound. And I'm even going to write it on the ball. You want to be gap sound at all times. Make them beat you because they're better than you. Don't let them beat you because you're not in position to make a play. That's it for X&O's The Joes. It's been a good one. 44 defense is a great run-stopping defense. If you're thinking about using the 44 defense as your primary defense, I would heavily suggest becoming familiar with a 43 or maybe even having a curveball of a 4-2-5 defense that you can switch in personnel just in case you play teams that are spreading you out and really taking advantage of the fact that you don't have the best athletes at those outside linebackers. If you've got guys who are athletes as outside linebackers, you really have to ask yourself, are they run stopper guys or are they guys that we're asking to stop the run? Because if they're guys we're asking to stop the run, then you're probably in a 4-2-5. And if you're in a 4-2-5, we've got so much cool stuff for you to do. Go check out our flip and stem from a 3-3 to a 4-2-5 video. Go check out the various pressures you can bring. There's a lot of stuff you can do. There's no reason to be married to a 4-4 if you don't legitimately have 4-4 personnel, or if you're not going up against teams who are really trying to run it down your throat. So just some things about the 4-4 defense. It's been a great day, a defensive day. I love a defensive day. For X&O's The Joes, I'm Gene Clemens. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We'll see you next time.